Hey everybody, welcome back to another video on my channel. So I'm going to make another video to the Harry Potter lore series. I'm going to call it, the third video of the Harry Potter lore series. I'm going to call it, Why Draco Malfoy Wasn't Made Quidditch Captain. Okay, so I'm going to talk about why Draco wasn't made Quidditch Captain, why Urquhart was made the Quidditch Captain instead, and, I'll explain all this in detail, and I'll try to, I'll try to explain why, at least in my opinion at least, and I'll try to explain several possible theories. But yeah, these are just my thoughts. Why Draco Malfoy wasn't made Quidditch Captain. Now, as we all know, Draco Malfoy, ever since Book 2, Chamber of Secrets, Draco Malfoy was the Quidditch Captain of the Slytherin Quidditch... Well, not the Quidditch Captain, sorry. He was the Seeker of the Slytherin Quidditch Team, ever since Book 2. Draco Malfoy got into the Slytherin Quidditch Team because of the brooms that his father brought them. They all got Nimbus 2001s, and because of that, Draco Malfoy replaced Terence Higgs as the Slytherin Quidditch Team Seeker. So Malfoy got into the team because of his father's brooms. He got into the team as the Quidditch Team Seeker. So in his second year, so that worked out pretty well, honestly, for him because he got into the team and the Slytherin Quidditch Team got brooms, Nimbus 2001s, but they still lost against Gryffindor even with those brooms. So it didn't really seem to have much of an effect. But that's not the point of this video. So you notice that every time ever since Draco Malfoy joins the Slytherin Quidditch Team, they never win the Slytherin Quidditch Team never wins the Quidditch Cup again, the Interhouse Quidditch Cup. They never win it again, second year in Draco's second year, the Quidditch Cup got canceled because of the attacks on Muggle-born students. Then in Draco's third year, the Gryffindor Quidditch Team won the Quidditch Cup. Draco cheated once during the match, and postponed the match because of his arm injury, Even though they were supposed to play Gryffindor at the beginning of the year, but they postponed the match because of Draco's injury, so Gryffindor had to play Hufflepuff instead. And then in Draco's fourth year, the Quidditch Cup was canceled because of the Tree Wizard tournament. Then in Draco's fifth year, Slytherin lost against Gryffindor again, and that was the last time that Draco and Harry played Quidditch against each other. Now, in Book 6, Draco Malfoy was still on the Quidditch team, but he wasn't made captain. And why is that? Well, let me explain. You see, in Draco's fifth year, the only players that were on the team besides Draco were Vincent Crabbe and Gregory Goyle, who were also in Draco's fifth year. In the same year, they were all in fifth year. And the other students that were on the Quidditch team were all seventh years. Graham Montague, who was the captain, Miles Bletchley, the keeper, Adrian Pusey, who was a chaser, and Cassius Warrington, who was also a chaser. They were all seventh years. And the reason why they're all 7 years is because Cassius Warrington tried to enter. I'm assuming they're all 7 years because they were never mentioned again after Book 5. So they all had to be 7th years. I mean, they all left Hogwarts by the end of Book 5. Cassius Warrington tried to enter the Tree Wizard tournament in Book 4, but Cedric Diggory was obviously chosen over Warrington. Like, Diggory got chosen over Warrington. Yeah, and Bletchley, Pusey, and Bletchley and Pusey were both mentioned in Book 1 of the Harry Potter series. So obviously they were all in 7th year, because they were had to be in 3rd year. They were in 3rd year when Harry was in his 1st year. So by Harry's 5th year, they were all in 7th year. Montague, Bletchley, Warrington, and Pusey. They were all in 7th year. And they all left Hogwarts after Order of the Phoenix, after that book. But anyways, I'm going to answer the question, why Draco Malfoy wasn't made Quidditch captain. So, the only other players that were on the team were all 7th years. Montague was the captain, he was a 7th year. Bletchley was on the team, he was a 7th year. Pusey was on the team, also he was a 7th year. And Warrington was on the team, he was a 7th year. So yeah, they were all on the team, they were all 7th years. So after they left, their only players left on the team were Malfoy, Crabbe, and Goyle. Now, Crabbe and Goyle are obviously they were good at their beater position. They were obviously horrible people. Make no mistake, Crabbe and Goyle were terrible people, obviously. But I still like their characters nonetheless. A character doesn't have to be a good person in order for you to like them. You can still like a character even though they're horrible people. They don't have to be good people in order to be likable, in the fandom universe. If you're liking a fandom or a character, they don't have to be good people in order to like those characters. But Crabbe and Goyle were on the Slytherin Quidditch team and they were beaters, but they didn't become captain even though they already had experience with the team. Now, my assumption is that Crabbe and Goyle were probably biased, and they probably weren't probably as fair as some other captains would have been. So obviously Crabbe and Goyle were not chosen as captains not only because they were being unfair, because they also didn't have the intelligence and capability to be captain. Because after all, Crabbe and Goyle were two of the dumbest students in their entire year at Hogwarts. There's no way that either of them would have been chosen as captain. They were more like lackeys, like bodyguards, like lapdogs. They were never really captain material in my mind. Now Malfoy is captain material. Now if things were normal, like if his father had never gotten arrested at the Ministry, and if Voldemort wasn't around, Draco Malfoy would have easily been chosen as Quidditch captain. He would have easily been Quidditch captain, and then that would have been it. He would have been Quidditch captain. That would have been the end of it. But unfortunately, however, Malfoy had his own problems to deal with rather than Quidditch, because his father had been arrested at the Ministry, and Voldemort was enraged with Draco's father for getting arrested. As punishment, for his father's failure, Draco had to assassinate Dumbledore. So obviously Draco was way too busy to play Quidditch. So Draco had to drop Quidditch, and even though he would have been chosen as captain, even because he was the only one left on the team that was on there the longest, Draco wouldn't have had the experience. Draco wouldn't have had the time. Draco had the experience, obviously. I'm not saying he doesn't have the experience. He does have the experience to be Quidditch captain. He obviously has the ambition to be a Quidditch captain for Slytherin. He was a prefect after all, but he was too busy to play Quidditch because he was way too busy with other stuff to deal with. He was too busy with trying to kill Dumbledore, trying to carry out his assassination plan, trying to take part in that. So he was obviously way too busy to do anything else. He was too busy for Quidditch. So obviously Draco would not have had time to play Quidditch. So as a result, Snape then hands over the Quidditch captain position from Draco to Urquhart. Now, Urquhart was probably chosen as captain because he was probably a substitute chaser on the team. One possibility was he was a substitute chaser. For instance, Warrington got injured. Got injured during Harry's 5th year because he was on the Inquisitorial squad, and the squad had pranks pulled against them. So Warrington was in the hospital wing because of that. And Graham Montague got shoved into the Vanishing Cabinet, and he was stuck there for about a month. So it's also probably a public explanation that probably when Warrington and Montague were absent, Urquhart was probably substituted for either one of them. He was probably substituted for either one of them when they were unavailable to play. So it's possible that maybe Urquhart was a substitute chaser. So that way, when the captain the position was open again, Urquhart got the position because he was the only one that had any playing experience, even though he was never a starter on the team. He was only a substitute on the team. That's probably why he got chosen as captain, And Draco was obviously too busy to kill Dumbledore, so he doesn't have time to play Quidditch captain. So it's it's possible. Another theory is that tryouts for the Slytherin Quidditch team probably did not take place in Half-Blood Prince, but rather took place in Order of the Phoenix in Harry's 5th year, in Draco's 5th year. In other words, in Draco's 5th year, they had the tryouts for the Slytherin Quidditch team for the following year, and Urquhart was probably picked out of all the chasers that were vying for the positions on the team for the following school year. Probably Urquhart was probably the most fairest out of all the people that were chosen. Probably more fair than all the other potential captains. He was more fair than them. He was more honorable than them. Maybe that's why they chose him as captain. Possibly. And also because he was probably a substitute. That's probably why they chose him as a captain. That's probably why they picked him as a captain, and that's why they chose him as Slytherin Quidditch team captain when they were looking at potential people to pick for the team. That's probably why they picked him. Why they picked Urquhart as captain. So yeah, that's probably a theory why they had tryouts, but in Order of the Phoenix, not in Half-Blood Prince. That's probably why Urquhart made the tryouts, got into the team secured his position on the team as a chaser for the following school year, and they all thought Draco was going to be captain, but since Draco had the mission to kill Dumbledore, they probably picked Urquhart instead to be captain. That's probably my theory anyway. Yeah. And another theory is that maybe Draco probably paid Urquhart to be the captain. Maybe Draco was the captain, but since Malfoy was too busy to kill Dumbledore, maybe Draco paid Urquhart to be the captain in his place. Maybe Draco paid Urquhart to be the captain instead of him, like he paid Harper to be the Seeker instead of him. So it's probably why he probably paid Harper to take his place as Seeker, and he probably paid Urquhart to take his place as captain. Those are just my thoughts, honestly. Yeah. That's probably an explanation. That is an explanation on my theories on why Draco Malfoy wasn't picked as captain for the Slytherin Quidditch team. So those are just my thoughts, honestly. Those are just my thoughts. Yeah. Yeah, and so Urquhart has made the Slytherin Quidditch team captain because of all that, Those are just my theories on the whole situation. Like, Draco was probably the real captain, but Urquhart was probably chosen as a stand-in, probably paid Urquhart to be a stand captain. Or Urquhart was probably a substitute chaser, they probably picked him as the captain. Or maybe Snape knew that Draco was too busy. Maybe that's why he gave the position of captain to Urquhart instead of Malfoy. But those are just my thoughts, honestly. Yeah, this is just my thoughts of why Draco Malfoy wasn't picked as Quidditch captain. But those are just my thoughts. Tonville Legend, 826, out.